In today's video, I'm going to cover BlackBerry stock because they have the Q1 fiscal year 2026 earnings coming up on June 24th, 2025. And at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, they'll have the conference call, which I'll be live streaming on my channel. And about typically 15 minutes before the conference call, they have the earnings numbers coming out, which I'll review on high level during the live stream and then roll into the conference call. So if you're interested in that, consider subscribing and following to be notified when I do. And then the next day following, they have the shareholders meeting on June 25th. And at 10 a.m. Eastern time will be the event, which I'll also be live streaming on my channel as well. And then I want to place a note from last year's shareholders meeting. But before I do, in terms of what to in this video, it's essentially going over what you could expect for Q1 fiscal year 2026 results in terms of the outlook they provided, the street estimates, previous numbers, year-over-year comparison, quarter-over-quarter comparison, all that stuff. So hopefully you like the video, hopefully you enjoy it. And then in terms of the note from last year's shareholders meeting, board of directors, Richard basically stated at the end of the shareholders meeting that
we do look forward to welcome you again next year, and I'm very hopeful and optimistic, and that the board is fully committed, along with management, that next year you will be looking at a business which you will be proud to own.
Hopefully they share more positive light in the shareholders meeting that's coming up and in the conference call, or for the Q1 conference call as well at the same time. Now, if we're looking at strictly the numbers of the outlook that they provided, if you look at Q4 results that were reported on April 2nd, 2025, fourth quarter results, they provided a guidance for fiscal year 2026 Q1 results, and they're expecting about total company revenue or total BlackBerry revenue coming in at $107 million to $150 million. Again, that's $107 to $115 million of total BlackBerry revenue, and that unfortunately is on the lower side. Because if you look at last year's revenue, which was for the Q1 fiscal year 2025 results, which was reported on June 26, 2024, first quarter fiscal year 2025 results, you can see total company revenue came in at $144 million. But at the same time, in terms of like the caveat and all stuff, this was including Silence revenue in the mix. Now we have Silence revenue out of the mix because they sold Silence earlier part of this year to Arctic Wolf, and they got a first payment chunk, and then they're getting a second payment chunk at the end of the year, give or take, about $40 million additionally. And then they own also shares into Arctic Wolf, which has not IPO'd yet. And the valuation of how much shares they own ranges somewhere between $18 to $45 million. And once they IPO, I'm expecting that valuation to go up higher. Now, if you add $410 million of cash they have on hand, plus the $40 million, plus the shares, plus they're expecting for the full fiscal year of 2026 to have approximately about $35 million in cash, right? Additional cash flow coming in. You're looking at ballpark of about $500 million in cash BlackBerry will be holding, or in terms of value and all that stuff, or just basically shares plus the cash and all that stuff, which is pretty good, pretty nice. And that's outside of the realm of potential merger acquisitions that they might do in terms of lowering that amount of cash on hand, because they pretty much hinted that they might do some merger acquisitions towards the QNX division of BlackBerry. So there's that. Just wanted to throw that into the mix. Now, another thing is too, last year's Q1, it wasn't necessarily phenomenal, because with that $144 million in revenue coming in, they did report a loss at the end of the day nonetheless. And that loss was about $34 million, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, $34 million right here for the Q1 fiscal year 2025 results, $34 million in losses. If it would be beneficial if they reported basically profits for this in terms of cash flow coming in the positive light for this quarter, would be beneficial. But unfortunately, they're reporting about $20 to $30 million in losses in terms of this quarter. But overall for the year, they're expecting $35 million to be net positive. So that's good. But this is a little bit on the low side. But again, the caveat is Silence revenue is not in this mix. And then they're reporting less losses though for this quarter. Hopefully they're closer on the 20 million side, but they're expecting $20 to $30 million, but still lower than the $34 million last year. Now, the good thing is about BlackBerry, they typically beat their street estimates and their estimates that they provide as well. And I'm going to show the street estimates quickly first. So if you look at ticker symbol BB on the US side, and you look at revenue estimates in terms of street estimates, and they're expecting it to be at $112 million. So $112 million in terms of street estimates, which falls in line with the outlook that they provided, which is at $107 to $115 million. But given that they're low, I'm expecting to beat it nonetheless, and more on the higher side, obviously. Well, not beat it, but just beat the higher side, $115 million, and surpass it as well. The reason why I state that is if you look at Q4 results last year, so I reported on April 3rd, 2024, I scroll into the guidance they provided, and they're expecting to report, or they were expecting to report 130 to 138 million for Q1 fiscal year 2025. So 130 to 138 million, right? But they actually ended up reporting 144 million. So they beat the high end side, just to visually show again, even though I already showed it earlier, but 144 million right here for Q1 fiscal year 2025 results. 144 million. So obviously they beat their forecast on the high end, 138 million, with an additional 6 million on top. So I'm expecting, hopefully the same thing repeats again on the high end, plus 6 million on top, $121 million. And hopefully in terms of operating cash flow, it's more closer to the a negative 20 million versus a 30 million, and hopefully even surpassing this portion and getting closer to even, let's just say 15 or 10 million. But it can't be that optimistic potentially. But either way, so if they get 121 million, then the benefit is they beat their street estimate, or they beat their forecast, and they beat street estimates at 112 million. That is beneficial. The only problem is you still have the year-over-year decline, right? Because last year was 144 million. So year-over-year decline, unfortunately. But the positive is, and then actually, let me just double check too, in terms of quarter over quarter. So April 2nd, 2025 was Q4, and you have, unfortunately, quarter over quarter decline. So we have a year-over-year decline and quarter over quarter decline. The quarter over quarter is not too substantial to look at because this business is cyclical, right? So it's not a really great evaluation to look at, or comparison to look at for quarter over quarter, but year over year is more of a better glance at the business. The only thing is, again, this has silence included with it for the Q1 for last year, but then this Q1 coming in with the forecast, it's including, or not including, does not have the silence revenue coming in, right? Now, if you break it in down even further in terms of the QNX side, QNX revenue, they're expecting 51 to 55 million, right? Which is a little bit unfortunate because if you look at last year's Q1, last year's Q1, the business was called, or the division was called IoT. Now it's rebranded QNX. So you just basically look at the same division, or the divisions corresponding to each other. And it's $53 million they got in terms of revenue last year. So $53 million, but this year they're expecting 51 to 55, which is a little bit unfortunate. The reason why I state that is because it's pretty much flatline. Now, I'm expecting beats still nonetheless, but I was hopefully expecting higher numbers than for that portion of the division. Secure communications, again, has silence removed out of it. They're expecting 50 to 54 million. I was expecting a hit for this, and you will be getting a hit because last year's, and the division was called cybersecurity, and once the silence portion was taken out, it's called secure communications. They came in at $85 million in revenue. So a decent hit overall, but that's expected. So in terms of the analysts and all that stuff, they're expecting essentially the revenue to take a hit, and that's basically what they're forecasting too. And analysts are street estimates as well. Like analysts are expecting that, so that's fine. And then they're pretty much the QNX one. I'm pretty sure they're probably surprised about this one. They would expect a little bit more growth, but at the same time, you could hypothetically say the bottleneck of the tariffs and all that stuff. But BlackBerry has stated that in terms of the direct connections and all that stuff, they haven't seen anything impacted yet by the tariffs, and in indirect, they're not really hearing too much yet, anything for the time being. But the secure communications also, I'm expecting the analysts to really expect a hit on this portion because the silence portion is taken out. But we have for the QNX flatlined, or let's just go for the revenue first. So revenue, we have year-over-year decline, but expected because of the silence portion revenue taken out. We have quarter-over-quarter decline. You could argue potentially not expected, but it is unfortunate, but not a great correlation or comparison because it's cyclical type of business. And then QNX, we have flatline year over year. And then actually we could take a look at quarter over quarter as well at the same time. What is it? Did it come in for? So I'm looking at April 2nd, 2025 for Q4, and QNX was at 65.8 million. So we have quarter over quarter decline as well. But again, cyclical. So quarter over quarter decline and year-over-year flatline for QNX. And then secure communications, we have year-over-year decline, and then we have, again, this portion will include silence though, FYI for Q4, if you're looking at the numbers. So basically adjusted EBITDA, revenue QNX, secure communications came in at 67.3 million. So 67.3 million, but again, that included silence in the mix. I believe at the end of it, or I believe towards the end portion of it or something like that. or I could be wrong, I believe. Don't quote me on this. I'll comment this down below and double check. I forgot if it included silence or not. I think I might have actually not included silence, but I'll double check and I'll comment this down below. But 67.3 million. So that unfortunately will be year-over-year decline and a quarter-over-quarter decline for this division for secure communications. The year-over-year explanatory or makes sense because the silence revenues is in the mix of last year's Q1 versus this year's Q1. It's not, but then the last quarter it might have had it or might have not, so I'll double check again and I'll comment that down below. But essentially that is quarter-over-quarter decline nonetheless. And then in terms of licensing revenue, they're expecting 6 million, which last year's Q1 shows 6 million as well, so it's flatlined for licensing. And then if you look at this year's Q4, which was a year-over-year or quarter-over-quarter comparison, they have licensing revenue coming in at 8.6 million, which is unfortunately quarter-over-quarter decline. But again, cyclical, so it's not too much to look into that personally. But it is unfortunate in terms of some of these numbers are on the lower side, right? But essentially what I'm expecting, and by the way, a little bit of a side note, like always, please do own due diligence and research before buying and selling, not a professional. And I do own shares in BlackBerry as well, so bear that in mind while you're watching this video at the same time. But essentially what I'm expecting from all this whole entire of numbers shown around, in terms of forecast, again, they stated 107 to 150 million. I'm expecting a beat on that side and more close to 120 million dollars, give or take. So beat on the higher end and surpassing it closer to 120 million. Q1X revenue, I'm expecting they're gonna beat it on the higher end, which will be growth year over year. But I would really hope they got closer to last quarter's Q1X, which was just to double check again, 65.8. Yeah, hopefully they get at least to 60 million. But this one's kind of hard, difficult to tell, because in terms of maybe the business maybe taking a little bit hit on the tariff side, and I don't know, they stated it's not the case, so most likely it'll probably be 60 million actually, to be honest, from what they've stated. And then secure communications, it's 50 to 54 million. I'm expecting them to beat it on the higher end as well. And then licensing 6 million, I'm not expecting anything crazy from that. And then in terms of operating cash flow, I'm expecting on the lower side, lower number as opposed, or technically the higher number, but negative $20 million operating cash flow on the reporting side. And that's basically it. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys liked it. If you have any questions, let me know. Comment them down below. I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. And that's basically, I'll see you guys during the live conference call. And hopefully I'm expecting beat nonetheless. I'm just hoping that the numbers are more positive than essentially what they've provided. And substantially more positive, right? And then at the same time, in terms of stock performance, for BlackBerry stock, unfortunately, during the time being right now, in terms of the whole entire stock market, it's getting pretty much like hypothetically tossed around, for a lack of a better word. So that will unfortunately a little bit adjust the share price for the time being in terms of delayed response or a more exaggerated response nonetheless. So we'll see. Hopefully it's good earnings, and hopefully we see some major surprises overall. But thanks again for watching. Take care. God bless and peace.